This is Gary Atensi with CNTV, and today we're in Denver, Colorado. I'm here at Tribe Recovery Homes. Since 2019, this nonprofit organization provides support for those in recovery from substance misuse and mental health-related issues, all in a supervised living spaces to help clients pursue recovery and self-sufficiency. I'm joined with the founder, Thomas Hernandez. Thanks so much for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me.
Start off a little bit about yourself. You're an educated peer specialist, certified recovery coach. You have served as an outreach coordinator, a director of recovery, as well as a construction company owner. You came from really a life of heavy addiction, confusion. As a young child, you turned to substance abuse, gangs, crime for over a quarter of a century. Eventually being in prison, lost for years when you kind of hit your bottom. In your words, share with me a little bit how this journey led you here today.
It's basically embarrassment and dumb luck trying to get out of prison. Every time you're in prison, a few times you get through there, I don't have a lot of, I don't look at my prison sentence as a badge of honor, but the only thing I do take out of it is it taught me how to be resourceful in the right way. Now, the first couple of times it was all in the wrong ways for all the wrong reasons. But when I figured out how to put one foot proactively in front of another, and I got in front of some case managers that gave me a shot, I ended up in the prison rehab, which catapulted what I do today and in my life. You know what I mean? So it's just hard work and tenacity and not taking no. You either want to live or you want to die. You want to live your life being confused and high and nobody really taking you seriously, because you reach a point to where you can articulate something, think about it, put pie charts to it, and do everything, most heartfelt conversation to your loved ones, and they're not hearing it because you've said it all before. And the only thing that you can really do is put action behind it. So today's, people can say whatever they want, but I perpetuated the situation 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. I'm helping somebody.
Absolutely. I mean, regardless of the addiction, there's always hope. I mean, you're proof of that. Yet to find that hope, is it difficult to find it on your own? And is this what you and your team are helping those folks find?
It is hard to find on your own because it takes that spark, and then you have to reach out. My team is the only reason why this works. This is a we program. You can't eye yourself to recovery. You can't eye yourself to mental health. I mean, how are you going to? Osmosis is a fantasy of somebody like, oh, I got it. It's not just about willpower. Willpower is one little tiny part of a whole recipe of things. And the only way to do it is like my clinical director, Osvaldo Cabral. He was the first Chicano I ever seen do something with his life that's in recovery. I was sitting in a place called Stout Street Foundation, and I watched this guy get multiple years with his kids. And I was looking at him, and I was like, who's that? And I was like, that's Ozzy. He's got multiple years in recovery. He's got 2 master's degrees. And I was like, man, get out of here. That ain't real. And he's sober? Yeah, right. And he's from Commerce City? Yeah, right. But no, man, it was real. I saw other guys, like my friends today, Nathan Padilla, started a plumbing company, Prime Plumbing, right in the middle of rehab. And he's doing great today. It's really examples and people, like the ladies that I have working that's watching this film right now, Melissa, Nani, all that stuff, they bring so much to the table. And if you don't have those multiple pathways of recovery and those ideologies behind it, it doesn't make anything. So tribe is family. Tribe means love, family. It's nothing indigenous. It's about us together.
Yeah, I mean, how important is a structured environment when it comes to recovery? And is that hard to find in your own personal home?
Yeah. Well, you figure like this, man. I tell participants when it was just me coaching all the time, you better pick a proactive program, or a program's going to pick you that you don't like. Either the government, the streets, even death's going to pick that program for you. So you better pick something that you like and put some proactive thought behind it, because you're going to have some structuralization. The people that run with no structuralization is the people like that have failed, that come in for our intake the first time. So me, I bucked being in a program of structure so many times And then I ended up in gangs and ended up being an instructor. I ended up in selling dope and being an instructor. I ended up doing this next thing and being some type of structuralized thing. And then one day you're sitting in a jail cell and you're realizing, whoa, I'm in a program and a structure that I don't really want. So what we build here is a structuralized program. You know, it sucks at the beginning, but it's for your own benefit. You know, it's to teach you. You know, like we have a thing called, like, we have like curfews. You're home at 12 o'clock. I mean, why are you out unless you're on a second shift? Why do you have to be out on a Tuesday at 2 in the morning? What's out there for?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
just little examples.
Many fear reaching out for help, as emotions like guilt, embarrassment, and shame consume them. Why is shame-free treatment vital to the success of your program?
We start beating up each other for doing stuff that addicts do. Like, how are we any better than the next person? We're going to hold you accountable. You know, it's not that you can run range around here, and you know that's why we got everybody with lived experience in here. I mean, you pull one move, 10 people and the employees have 7,000-8,000 different versions of how they try to do it themselves and get away with it. Ended up with the same thing, you know. But shame-free means, okay, let's go to detox. Let's figure it out. You messed up. Okay, you messed up with this. How do we fix it? How do we move on from here? You know, because this is not an exact science. There's no such thing as perfection in life, let alone recovery. You got to be able to help somebody get across that line, and you got to be willing to fall with them to help them get up.
I mean, these are more than just sober houses. These are supervised living spaces. Is it critical to have a clean, safe, substance-free residence? And is that really what they're going to find here in all your houses?
Yeah, and you know, we've catapulted the actual treatments of the residential programs inside the houses. So you do a 30-day program where you go classes all the way and then you step down to sober living. Structuralized, clean environments. I mean, you can do what you want after treatment. I wouldn't recommend coming off of, an abstinence-free lifestyle. For me, that's all I got. I got over 10 years clean. I know I can't drink. I know I can't use illicit drugs, mind-altering drugs. I can't. That's just, I know myself on that. Some people go back to whatever they do, but to program, you got to put away that Budweiser commercial. It doesn't matter if marijuana is legal. It doesn't matter what's legal. Even if it's legal or illegal, it's going to take your life, and you got to be able to focus for a while. You know, take a break, time out, let's figure out what your life is. And the biggest thing is mental health. And that's what we have in here too. It's not just shame-free environments. That's why we have master's level clinicians in here and therapists. We got to figure out what your mental health is about. Me, I'm dual diagnosis. I got recovery on one side and I got mental health on the other. And I can't walk down the street if I don't have the toolboxes to go. You know, they might have some like-minded situations that they sound the same, but they're very different. My PTSD and ADHD, and I'm manic. I'm not manic depressive, but I'm manic. I mean, I'm a guy who could stay up for 3 days and think I'm going to take over the world. That's not a superpower. That's being manic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, ADHD, maybe I can work on 7 different things at once, but, you know, I got to watch how I'm doing that because that's going to get to my manic situation, which is going to play on my PTSD. And how is that going to be in my recovery? Because I got to make sure that just one day at a time I'm staying sober. And if I'm hurting people or I'm saying things, I got to use my recovery tools over here to apologize at the end of the day and do my 10 step. You see how that kind of works? I got to make sure that I'm working every day. So that's why we're saying just one day at a time, because you really got to think about that. And one day, I got so much to do here.
Yeah. Know thyself.
You know what I mean?
Right? Rule
Exactly.
number 1.
Exactly.
And the homes are managed by experienced senior participants, taking care of daily activities, protocols, from meetings to transportation. Is this very much needed for those who want to get back on their feet? Just knowing somebody's reminding them and keeping them on track.
Okay, so the senior participant model is hybrid and changed. We actually have navigators now that are on charge of everything.
Okay.
So basically what that is a senior participant applies after they've held a job somewhere else. They can come in. So our senior participant is basically the accountability piece for the house. They're the role model that's been through the program, right? So when I'm a house manager, I want to make sure everybody's in on their curfews. I want to make sure that they're cleaning up their rooms. You know, I want to make sure that everybody's morale is good. Everybody's, you know, if there's small little tidbit things that are happening in the houses that doesn't need to get to the staff, you know, there's a disagreement and stuff, I'm going to sit both guys down and be like, hey, man, how can we work this out? Let's make some food together. Let's do this. Let's clean up on Sundays. Let's all get this stuff done. Now, the real management of taking them to meetings and all that stuff, yes, when you're in the sober living area, they take themselves to meetings. But at the beginning,
Yeah.
we have a bunch of transport buses. We have even a 24-passenger like van bus that takes them everywhere. So we have people that have 1 to 2 years of recovery behind all the lived experience that takes them to everything. Like we just got done taking them rafting last week. So there's multiple things just besides meetings. We take them to different things. One of the ex-employees used to be he was a wrestler, so some of them went to that, watching, pro wrestling. We try to get them volunteering also at the same times and putting them in settings like you got to be able to go to a Bronco game. You got to be able to go to a Rockies game. You got to be able to be around certain things and certain things in your life to make sure that you're good. But you want to have somebody that has some experience with sobriety, that has some learned how to be clean, so you can lean on them and like, hey man, I'm getting triggered right now. Tell me how that feels, man. So like when we go home, you can talk with your therapist, and we have groups to be like, hey, let's decompress the situation. Let's see how you feel about that.
So your program's very structured. We're talking about the home managers as well as the participants, kind of their way of giving back to the program. Let me ask you this. During their stay, they have access to a broad range of tribe recovery services. Are these all set up to help prevent relapse? I mean, is that what a lot of the programs are set up for, to make sure that it's sustainable?
Yeah, so all programming is about realization of self. There's no two people that are going to get clean and sober the way that the next person will. You got to take the information that you're learning and apply it. Okay. So it's not going to be an exact science. Like people think that, in recovery, you could graduate with every accolade and everything. And I've had people leave programs, or I've been in programs that 2 days later they're drunk or high. Just because they said the right things doesn't mean that they went through it and they programmed. For me, for instance, it's funny that I own rehabs and I own sober homes. I got kicked out of every program that I ever was in. Straight asked to leave. The only one I didn't get asked to leave because I was in prison and they couldn't make me leave. Or else I would have gladly told them, yeah, I'll leave this one too. But you know what I mean? But I found my programming and I found the concepts through the literature and through the stuff, through 12 steps. And not only that, through the mental health and the therapist. Like having a relationship with a therapist is probably the biggest triumph that I had. Because I had somebody finally to talk to instead of like, it was my first gateway of trust. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I had to find a way to trust somebody when I didn't even trust myself.
Sure.
Today I still have a therapist.
Yeah.
I'm multi-states now. I'm in Las Vegas. We just figured out telehealth. I'm not getting rid of Matthew Jarvis for nothing. That's my guy. You know what I mean? I don't care if I got to fly back to see him because he can't do telehealth. I'm going to do that because my recovery, and I trust the man, and that's what I need. In the literature that you're asking about and everything like that, we're giving them every opportunity to learn concepts of recovery. And what that also means, and I'll finish with this, is it means definitions. You got to really know the true definitions of what is what. Like when I explained manic, I thought manic was manic depressive. Jarvis told me, no, that's not depressing. You're not depressed at all. You're manic. You know what I mean? So ADHD, that makes a whole lot of sense. My wife was like, I knew it. You know what I mean? So, that whole situation is like, with that being said, I didn't know who I was. Like, you got to figure out who you are. If you're getting high, you're rolling around with guns, you're committing crimes, you're self-medicating, you're shooting dope intermediates up your arm, you're drinking, you're taking pills, you're snorting stuff up your nose, and you have no idea what your mental status is and your trauma, there's a problem. So,
and like you say, you can fool the system, but you can't fool yourself.
You can't. No, you have to talk to somebody and be evaluated and learn what that problem is, and then start from there. Because if you have no idea where to start from, you're not going to get anywhere.
The first step is assessment. What takes place there, and is this done after the initial application, or how does that work at the beginning?
Well, we have an application online. So they put the online application in. We do background checks for certain things. We take pretty much everything, but there's some certain indicators that we can't take because sometimes, like even with mental health, sometimes people need a higher level of care, like the medication level. We do have a medical practitioner on staff, but she's also not a psychotherapist. You know what I mean? So if you need a psychotherapist, you have schizophrenia or certain other things that have to go to a different level. And how we find out is when you come in and you get that intake, you go through different assessments. You have 6 different mental health and recovery assessments that you have to get through. Then you got to learn the handbook. So we want you to know when you come in, like without a benefit, the shadow of a doubt, if you violate a program rule, no, you signed it, you took a test on it, and you got it. You know what I mean? So it's an extensive situation. It takes about an hour and a half just for the testing, 2 hours, and you're on intake day, just buckle up because you're going to be here all day.
And this assessment process helps both parties to ensure the fit is safe and supportive living situation for the journey ahead. Is that first step many times the hardest for people to take?
Yeah, man. I mean, you got a relationship with dope and alcohol. You got a relationship with your trauma. And you're sitting in a chair with a bunch of strangers and you're going to be like, hey, I'm about to give everything that I've self-medicated that I know away. All my family hates me, everything like this, everybody that I know. But I know dope and alcohol is going to be there for me if I leave right now. I don't care what's going to happen. You're telling that whole situation and you're not getting that fix at the time. So your mind, your dopamine receptors are telling yourself, go get some, go get some, go get some, go get some. You know what I mean? And it's scary, man.
Yeah.
You know, positive for living negative for years. Positive's scary.
Scary.
You know what I mean?
It's scary and it's hard.
Exactly. Like, you know, I walked into a 12-step room and I'm walking in there with, you know, predominantly a lot of white people that are in there. And I got tattoos on my head. And at the time I was like 340 pounds. And this guy's coming up to me, give me a hug and telling me, hey, I'm going to go take you to dinner. We can smoke cigarettes. I'm like, yo, dog, who are you? You know what I mean? Like, ain't nobody from the hood telling me that before. But, you know, that's how NA is. That's how 12 steps are. That's how recovery is. Because that's one thing is like, you gotta understand they're gonna love you while you don't love yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what you gotta know that you're committing. So like when you're sitting in the chairs, I love the opportunity when I get home. I could just sit down with somebody and just talk about recovery. You know, I don't even have to talk about the intake because that's not my job, all that stuff. But I could laugh with them. You know, if they want to share some stuff that they're crying about, it's cool. You know, but making them feel comfortable in that seat because you got about a day of intake and process because we give you food, we give you clothes if you don't got it. We make sure you're a good fit. We talk with any agency, judicial agency that you're involved with to make sure that they're set with everything. We give you your housing assignment. You do all the intake paperwork. You do all the assessments. You do everything. So you have ample time. And during that time, it's not like they're just sitting on these benches doing nothing. We got Maurice feeding people food, and we got to make. And there's a navigator who's gonna walk by and be like, "Hey, how you doing?" Nani's going to be the first one to greet you. So is Melissa. They're like, hey, welcome to Tribe. So how you feeling? You know what I mean? Making sure everybody's good. You need some water. You need something to eat. Whatever. You want to smoke a cigarette? Some of the navigators will take you out on the porch just to relax for a second. You know what I mean?
Really a family environment.
Yeah.
Family feel that you kind of feel going into a home with people that actually are happy you're there.
Yeah.
I mean, you offer a variety of clinical and therapeutic services that are specific to that individual. I mean, be it DUI, partial hospitalization, outpatient, as well as trauma-focused therapy. Does a customized program enable a successful recovery, would you say, knowing that exactly what they need and kind of point in that direction?
Yeah, you know, through assessment of what you're willing to do. You know, we can't make a person do what they're not going to do. Like, the reason why I have DUI, it's a basic end game. If you're going to get a real job, or you're going to attempt to drive a car again and you don't want to get caught and get in trouble, let's get your license back and let's do this right so you can actually make some money and get back and forth. You're trying to get your kids back, it's going to be hard to get on the bus. You know what I mean? You're trying to get anything going on. So, you know, it's not just for the fact of having DUI, just to have DUI. Trauma-informed, yes. Males, yes, have just as much trauma as females. But we stuff it so much.
Sure.
So we got to figure out, take away that machismo, take away that strength, get a little vulnerable, and let's figure out what that's about. And then we can start there. There's so many different directions. It's, you know, it's kind of like, we're going to give you every opportunity like a buffet, you know what I mean? Take some of this, because, I mean, it took me a little while. I took, you know, some concepts. I went to classes and I fell asleep in some classes. Then I realized, like, a year later I needed it. So we keep that outpatient level. So, like, if they're not even doing good in the houses, some people are not built for sober living. You know, they need to go home and stuff, but we're going to keep that outpatient going so they can keep on going. We got very successful participants that left the housing and they still kept on outpatient and they kept on going. So we want to just make sure that we keep the ball rolling and however long it goes to get you there. There's not a graduation date. It's not a time limit.
Yep.
You're in control of your time to get there. You know what I mean? That's when you become alumni, when you complete everything that we possibly have to offer you and you complete that successfully, that's when you graduate the program. It's not a year program. It's not a 2-year program. It could be 6 months. It could be 9 months. If you're on outpatient, you could be there for a year.
A big buffet. It's a buffet.
Yeah.
Like most buffets, you got to get up, you got to serve yourself and make sure and take care. Many come from homelessness and even legal issues like probation, parole. Here they find pretrial support, release assistance. Based on your journey, was that an important service that you felt was necessary to offer, that aspect of the legal side?
Yeah, man, because you get a thing called a case of efforts before court. There's so many. I mean, I did 3 state, 1 federal bid. I did more county time than I can count. But I always had a case of efforts. I'm going to go to jail anyway. Why should I get sober? And I just waited until I got into jail. Then I get sober for a while. Then I rah-rah everybody in my life and tell them that I'm going to do better. I get out. Things don't work out within 60 days. I'm back in the wreck. I'm back in the mix. I'm doing everything that I'm doing. You know, what Tribe is built for that first 60 days, to hit you in the face and say, hey, you got to figure this out. So like even in probation, even we have a pre and a post program. So, I mean, the pre-program is you're just fighting the case. You may not even be on paper yet. So we have people that are in Denver City right now. They give out backpacks and materials when you get out of jail from RAD programs. We hook you up with a cell phone. We invite you to the pretrial program, which is a pretrial program. Pretrial, what people don't understand, that's kind of an interview for probation.
Okay.
So if you're doing pretrial, you're most likely going to have a better chance of getting probation. So we got to tell you and teach you how to navigate that situation. So when you're going to court, you end up showing up for court, doing the things that you need to do, and making sure that we're there. So we're trying to hit every level with you so you understand what you're facing. And you don't give that case of efforts because judicial is real, but if you do it sober at the beginning and then when you get out of jail and you do it off paper, we're trying to shrink down that time. If you have a 3-year tail, a 2-year tail, trying to take a 2-year tail to 1, a 1 to 6 months. You know what I mean? We're trying to stack that recovery credit and all the great things that you do so it's factual. When you have a packet full of all these great things that you did that's factual that you completed, how can the state refuse? And people don't understand. They really don't want you on probation and parole. They got enough.
Yeah.
They're not trying to hold you. If you're doing well, they're more than willing to cut you and let you go.
The road to recovery starts with an assessment, but the end goal is re-entry into the community. Obviously, education, employment is vital to sustainable success. I mean, you've dedicated your life to reform and recovery, and you now help others do the same, but it takes a village to raise up an individual. How do folks out there, companies out there, organizations out there support your mission?
And just get on our website. You're going to see a donate button. Find me on Facebook. I'll come and have a cup of coffee with you. You know, find me on social media. Give me a call whenever, you know what I mean? But the best thing is there's a donate button. But another thing is just hit us up on an email, on the info line, all that stuff. And come down and volunteer. So, like, the best thing would be volunteering. I'm hoping this Zarin before Thanksgiving, what we were talking about downstairs. We give out about 2,000 meals a year. We cook them. We have this thing filled up all the way downstairs. And we hit the bricks. And we hit us. The people that are, they're in homeless tents, but they're hot. That's our family out there. We're going to make sure they got food. So if you want to come to check out what Tribe's about, hit us up on Thanksgiving, hit us up on Christmas, on those holidays when we're giving back. You know what I mean? And make the relationship with us. Because we don't want just your dollar. We want you to know what we do. You know what I mean? We want you to be a part of the family and feel good about where your money's going. Because I guarantee you, as soon as you come and work with us, you're going to love us forever. Because, I mean, my employees, I got to tell go home. I have no problem with employees leaving early. I got to make them go home because they love their job here. You know what I mean? This is a way of life. This is not just a job. It's
Speaking of loving your job, I mean, you ensure that the people feel seen, heard, known, and understood, supporting them to become independent, believe in themselves, and develop a life worth living. Is providing that supportive tribe, that family setting. Is that rewarding for you and your team?
Absolutely. I mean, I created so much chaos in my life. There was a time when my mom would say, I apologize to God every day for having you. And today, I don't have to live like that. My mom don't think that way about me. And my employees are the same way. you gotta understand when you actually take a chance to come back, and you get that. You don't take it for granted. You wake up every day and you want more. You know, it's not just a choice. It's my obligation. We have a saying in recovery: you can't keep what you don't give away. And you got to remember that every day. And that's what we do.
Excellent. Viewers, let's take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. What you're going to see is their website. On the website, learn more about all the services they provide. You can also see multiple locations that they have these homes. We're talking about getting close to 12 homes now. They're expanding out into Las Vegas. You can read the testimonials and success stories right there on the website as well. There's always hope, and the road to recovery starts here. Apply today if you need that help. And if you're in a position to do the helping, please donate. Please volunteer. Help them out with this mission. Become part of that tribe. And you're going to see that basically these are all humans. We all need help. Everybody needs help at some level and some degree. Once again, that is Tribe Recovery Homes. Start from nothing. Stop for nothing. This is Gary Atensi with CNTV. And if you don't know, now you know.